Good morning and well, hello, good day, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Welcome back to Best Practice TV. If you are somebody who is interested in learning more about LinkedIn, if you're somebody who wants to get more out of your LinkedIn account, I thought I'd jump on today and give you some insights into how I've been using LinkedIn to network more effectively, where some of the mistakes you can make, where to avoid those mistakes, where to grow your LinkedIn account, grow your followers. If you're looking for more followers, you can have a think about some of your goals. So today we're going to just talk about the use of the LinkedIn platform, how we can use that. We've been doing a thread over the last couple of weeks around some sales, some marketing, some elements in terms of improving what we're doing. So in this particular live stream, we thought we would do a little bit more in terms of using the LinkedIn account. So we've got a couple of people helping us here in the studio. I think you guys are coming down to watch. Jump in. Okay, excellent. So I've got a few people here. Luke, Gabby, and Maddie, and Fiona, and the dog Scupper here with us down in the foyer. Apologise for the background noise. The fact is in full flight behind us today. So our studio is not quite finished. We're getting close. So let me know where you're watching from. It's good to know where everyone's coming in from. So if you have got questions about LinkedIn, today we're going to be specifically talking about how you guys can use your LinkedIn accounts more effectively. It's going to be a really good live stream. I've obviously had a lot of success using LinkedIn. I noticed the other day that I've been on the platform for 15 years, and I've learned a lot about the platform over those 15 years. So if you have got questions, for those of you watching, hey, Matt, thanks for joining us and coming online. Hey, Ross. Hey, Shane. Thanks, guys, for jumping on board. So we're live streaming to YouTube. We're all live streaming to LinkedIn. And I hope today I can give you some really good insights into how to use your social media accounts more effectively, but more specifically, how to use your LinkedIn more effectively. So I'm going to go through a couple of the elements. I'm not really going to talk today about your profile specifically on LinkedIn. We're going to speak more about how to use it from a networking perspective, basically increase your earning potential. So a measurement of success could be, essentially how to earn more money, get a job that you really enjoy doing, get clients that you really like working with. Have a think about some of those goals. So I want you to be thinking about some of those goals and have a think about, what you guys can be doing. And hey, Luke, haven't seen you for ages. So Luke King, welcome for joining us. Thanks for joining us and welcome. So Luke, I can use you as an example how you can use LinkedIn more effectively, particularly around potentially for sponsorship and using the LinkedIn account to work for your race team. So we've got Luke on board there, Luke King. He a while back taught me some driving tips and tricks for race car driving. So so let me know what's going on. I've got Serge Davidoff trying to call me. So if someone can mention to Serge that I'm actually live and he can watch live. So, okay. So thanks for joining us, Matt, Ross, Ashley. As always, great to have you guys on board. So let me know where you are watching from. Let me know the organization you work for. Okay, let's get into it. There's a couple of things on the LinkedIn side of things that I want you to be aware of, and specifically on the LinkedIn platform, and that is right at the top of the screen, the search function. So the search function is really interesting, and it's becoming, I guess if we take a couple of steps back in time and understand the platform and get to know the platform itself, LinkedIn is now owned by Microsoft. Microsoft is obviously trying to grow as an organization. They've done a huge amount of stuff and some great stuff over the years. But what we want to do is understand what they're trying to do, who their competitors are, and who's out in the marketplace. So I want you to think for a moment about, when you're searching for information on the internet, typically now in the last 10 to 15 years, we've moved across to be doing our information searching on Google. So you do a Google search to find information. Now, LinkedIn and specifically Microsoft have recognized that that's an issue for them, potentially might make them a little bit obsolete. So that search tool, that search functionality at the top there is becoming quite powerful. Recently, in the last couple of months, LinkedIn, it's actually about 6 months ago, LinkedIn has specifically given you the ability to search content. So when you hit that search, when you type in a search in that search box at the top of the LinkedIn account, I want you to pay attention to the fact that there are different tabs at the top. So you're going to see search results for people, you're going to see search results for companies, you're going to see search results for content, and you can start now to also search things like hashtags. So hashtags attached to people, hashtags attached to companies, hashtags attached to content. So you can start to understand the matrix. Why am I talking about that search function? It's really important for you to start to do your due diligence so we can reverse engineer some of our goals in terms of what we want to do. So if you want to increase the amount of money you earn, then we can work out the steps backwards in terms of what we need to do. Do we need to get more leads for the company that we represent? Do we need to get more opportunities for the type of job that we want to go for? We want to know who the people are that have your money. And that's something that's really important to think about. Who's got your money? Where is it? Whose pocket is it in? And what can you do to basically start to unpack that? We can reverse engineer that. Now, the other thing I want to say is it doesn't happen instantly. So it does take time and it does take consistency. So from a platform's perspective, your success on the LinkedIn platform is going to come from consistency. So consistently opening the app, consistently looking at the content, looking at the news feed, updating your profile, reading other people's profiles, searching, looking, investigating, doing your due diligence. And the more curious you can be, the better you're going to get in terms of your results. So I'll just talk to you about how I've been using it, say in the last 48 hours, the last 72 hours. I've been looking at what's trending in terms of specific individual people and what they've been doing, not to look at their profile, but to look at their activities. So there's a really good example of a person, Bridget Hyacinth. If you go back and look at my activity, you can search me, you can look at my profile. When you search me and look at my profile, you can see the unique characteristics of me. You can see my skills, my qualifications, my experience, but you can also see my recent activity. You can see all of my activity. You can see my posts. You can see content. You can see documents. But you can see the things that I've been producing. So really what LinkedIn is giving me is my personal website, but it's also, you can see my activities. You can see what I've been reading, what I've been liking, not really what I've been reading unless I've commented on it or liked it, but you can see my interests. You can see those sorts of areas. So I'm going to talk more about that in a second about how you can use it. So I want you to go check that out. But there's Bridget Hyacinth is a good example, is somebody who has attracted about 1 million followers over the COVID crisis. So from 2 million to 3 million followers. Now that's all great if she has figured out how to monetize that audience. So it's something I want you to think about is you've really got to be thinking about the buying audience, the audience that's got money in their pocket, that is for the goods or services that you have, the skills you've got, the services you provide, or the products you sell. So we really want to be focusing in on a buying audience, and we want to be focusing on previous buyers that we've had and start to look at their characteristics. Then we can use that search tool to start to look for that. I know I'm rambling and I'm going all over the place, but really right now we're talking about that search criteria and we're seeing what we can search. So we can search for information, but we can search for information that comes out of content, out of people, and out of companies. So what I also do is I go and look at my sales register. Look at my business, I look at the clients that we have here at Best Practice, I look at who's been signing deals, look at people we've been talking to, I look at leads that have been coming in, and I go into LinkedIn and I see if there are numbers of those types of people. So say it might be an architectural practice, it might be a builder that comes in, it might be a factory, it might be a particular type of company. Then I can use that search tool to see if I can find more companies like that one. And then I can find the people that work at those companies. And at the end of the day, business comes back to a person interaction and an interaction with people and building relationships. We can start to actually build those relationships at scale. So we can look at that and we can say, okay, well, here's people that could potentially buy my product. Here's people who could potentially buy my service. Here's potential companies that I could reach out to. Here's companies I could work for. Here's managers I could work for. So as you're starting to think about whether it's actually trying to get a job at a company that you really want to work at, or experience at different companies that you'd like to try, and I've got someone in the studio here today who is watching live. We've got a live audience. So he is looking at different organizations to learn about industries, and that's a really good example. We can start to go, okay, well, we want to get a sense of the whole market. And you hear businesses talk about market share. Market share applies to businesses that sell products and services, but it also applies to you. So when you think about your market share, what's your earnings as part of the market share for the job that you do? And you will be a percentage of the total amount of money spent on people doing that job in the whole industry. And we want to be aware of that. So how many people are there on LinkedIn that do the same job as me? So if you wanted to go and do a job title search, you can do that. So you can search, so Ashley, you could search office manager. Luke, you could search race car driver, and a very good one at that, by the way. So everyone knows, watch out for Luke King, great talent. Matt Jenkin, IMS manager at Lifeguarding Services Australia. So I can see you guys watching on LinkedIn. I can see your title because it's got your name in your title, and I can do that. So, Gory, I can see your job title there is courtier. Is that correct? So hello, thanks for joining us today. So you can go and search your job title and you can see how many people in different regions. You can then filter. So your search result is going to be a whole of LinkedIn. And right now they're not throttling this in any way. So you can see the whole thing. So you can see everybody globally. You might see a number of million, 1.7, 1.8, 2.5 million people. If you're a social media marketer, if you're a marketing person, a marketing graduate, a marketing associate, a CEO, you can search. So then you can start to filter that search result by region, like locality, geographically. You can start looking at years of experience. There's a whole bunch of stuff in the filters section of that search. You can see, obviously, you're going to get search results for everything. You're going to get content. You're going to get people. You're going to get companies. You can start filtering, and I want you to start filtering. So if you're somebody who's unemployed, and I see a couple of people here watching today who are in the market for new opportunities and in the market for their new job, and I can see you guys on there, I want you to start to think about looking at doing a search of the job title that you would like to have. When you see the people come up, go and have a look at the companies they work for and start making a list of the companies that have that job title on their org chart. Now, I can guarantee you that 3% of the companies that you identify will be in the market for the role that you want. It's an industry statistic around sales and selling. It's pretty standard. It's between 3 and 4%. It applies across anything. So you are selling yourself. You're in the market to sell yourself. And I can guarantee that if you can get a list of 100 companies, do a job title search, identify 100 companies, identifying all of those people, and then you're looking at the company that they work for, I guarantee that 3% of the 100 companies that you identify will be in the market. Your challenge then is to work out which 3 companies of the 100 are actually in the market for that specific job. Now, it's a numbers game. It's about putting in the effort, doing the due diligence, and identifying those companies. Now, that is right now. The next thing I want to point out is that in a month's time, it's going to be a different 3 companies. And in another month, it's going to be a different 3 companies. Now, for you guys out there who are watching that don't have jobs and are unemployed, that the average corporate organization has a staff turnover of somewhere between 25 and 30%. That means that people are leaving at a rate of 30% per annum. So that by rights says that over a 3-year period, you could argue that 100% of the company turns over. And so the companies that you're looking to work for, they might not be recruiting right now. They might be starting to recruit in a month or 2 months, but I guarantee the numbers and the probabilities and the statistics say that they will be recruiting in the next 3 years. Then it's a game of patience. Now, I appreciate that some of you guys don't have jobs and you don't have income right now, but it is a game of patience. So it's a game of saying, okay, I've identified a company I want to work for. I'm going to keep watching that company really closely. It is my goal. I'm not going to negotiate my goal. I'm going to stick to my goal, and I'm going to keep watching that company until that job comes up. And in the process of watching that company until that job comes up, I can then reach out to that company. I can build a relationship with that company. And we know that the strength of relationships is what gets us customers. It gets us sales. It gets us jobs. It's not what you know. It's not who you know. It's who knows you. Now, LinkedIn with the search criteria is going to be very good at having, who you know. So it's not what you know. It's not who you know, but LinkedIn's going to be very good at helping you who to know. Your goal is then to get those people to know you, if that makes sense. So the first thing, and this applies for you guys who are selling, you're in business development positions and you're in leadership positions using social media to actually grow your organizations and reach out to customers. You're going to be getting the opportunity to do more business when people know you. So the goal of the search tool there is to get to know who's out there. Then the next thing is to get those people to know you. So how do we do that? We contact them, and it's pretty straightforward. So the old school method of doing that is to call them. And there's nothing wrong with calling someone and saying, hey, Ross Finney. Hey, my name's Ross Finney. I see you there watching on YouTube. Hey, my name's Ross. I'm a management systems consultant. I'm good at what I do. I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm not necessarily looking for a job, but I just want to understand your organization a bit more closely because it's my intention to be helping you at some point in the next 3 to 5 years. So I really want to get a sense of what's going on. I know you don't have any opportunities right now, but if I learn everything I can learn about you, when you need somebody, I'll be ready to go. And that is marketing. And so 96% of your efforts and time is about learning who's out there, learning about them, learning what's going on so that you can jump to attention straight away. So your client is not paying you to learn. You are ready to go. You've done the investment. You've done the learning. You've put yourself on the front foot. And that's what I do. So my success here at Best Practice is I spend a lot of time, as you guys know, doing a lot of stuff for people for free so that when someone reaches out to me and they say, Kobe, I know you can solve this problem, there's no learning. I'm straight in there. And the same applies for you guys who want jobs. Yes, it's great. You're going to get a learning experience, but you don't want to communicate to somebody, hey, actually for the first month, I'm going to do the learning. You're going to be paying me and I'm going to be learning. The more that you can prove that you can walk straight in the door and be effective straight away, the more likely you are to get the jobs. So both customers for products, services, and also for jobs, it's all the same. Okay, let's get back to LinkedIn. Luke, I'm going to grab I'll answer your comment in a second. Stand by for 1 second so I can drive my laptop. I've got a little dashboard here that Luke's given me. So I will cover some of those points. So we're using that search tool and we're using that and we're doing lots of different searches and we're seeing who's there. We're looking at search results, play with the filters, do that sort of stuff. That's going to give you your due diligence. Now, the next part in terms of using LinkedIn more effectively is what I'm looking for is trending posts in areas that I'm interested in. I'm looking at the numbers of likes on posts, and then I'm looking at the number of comments on posts. When I see a lot of comments on a post, if that's relevant to an area that I'm exploring, like networking, for example. So to prepare for this presentation, I've been looking at some posts and looking at some content around networking. And I have found a community of people following, for example, Bridget Hyacinth with her 3 million followers. A lot of her followers are interested in networking and she's talking about networking. So I go in there and I read all the comments. Now, she put a post up about 48 hours ago before this particular video. And if you're watching this after the event, just look at the date stamp on this video. She put up a post. It's had 22,000 comments. Now, I can say that I have probably read somewhere around about 12,000 of those comments. Now, that is the kind of effort that I put in, and that's just giving you an example of how I got to where I am in my position. That's what I do. I don't get distracted. I don't go do something else. I don't negotiate my goals. I'm sitting there, often to the detriment of conversations going on around me because I'm so focused. But I just want to make you aware that I've been in there, and to get a good sense of my market and the research, I've been in and I've read tens of thousands of comments, and that's just that one post. Now, the second thing that I've done, I said to you guys that it's not what you know, it's not who you know. Like, I know that person doesn't know me. So the next goal in terms of LinkedIn is getting people to know you. Now, you can do that by posting, obviously, and you can produce content. You can think about what people want to read. And the question I use, and I've said this a couple of times already this morning, what is the information that somebody is searching for that they don't currently have? So you know the people now you want to target because you did the search, you identified people you would like to work for or people you would like to work with. What is the information that you've got or the skill that you've got that they're searching for that they don't currently have? Now, your goal in terms of producing content or posts or writing posts, it's not about getting on LinkedIn and bragging. It's about getting on LinkedIn and helping people. It's about thinking about the audience that you want to work with, help, and actually thinking about the challenges that they've got at different points in time on their journey, and producing content, posts, articles, written pieces of advice, one paragraph, inspirational quotes, whatever that might be, to actually help them. So it's constantly posting the answers to the questions that they might have in the future. So then they'll go, oh, I've actually always had this question, and then Kobe can come and answer it. Now, today, I'm producing content for you guys to help you use LinkedIn because you want to know how to use LinkedIn. So that's the concept in terms of posting content. Now, the second part so that is obviously you can start posting content, but people may not see it. So in terms of bringing attention to yourself, it's no different to being in a crowd and sticking your hand up and waving and saying, not saying anything, you're just waving your hand in the crowd, and everyone looks at you and goes, why are you waving your hand in the crowd? Well, people are going to go, you're that guy or girl who waves their hand in the crowd. What if you start yelling? Then you're going to be the person that's yelling in the crowd. Now, you could be annoying, you could be yelling obscenities, or you could be yelling good stuff, or you could be the guy or girl at the front of the band singing. And so in terms of actually getting people's attention, what I do is I go into an audience that is interested, that is a topic that interests me or I want to talk about, and I go through and I read the comments. That's the first thing that I do. And if I like the comment that somebody has made, literally like it, click the like button, then that will draw attention to me. And it will be, hey, that person liked what I said. So I look for inspirational comments. I look for thoughtful comments. I look for valuable comments. I look for comments that contribute to the discussion. And I go in and I engage with those people. The first thing I do is like their comment. I hit the little like button. And then if it's a really valuable comment, I'll actually reply to their comment and I'll add to the conversation. And so it's about adding to interesting conversations. Now, yes, you might be thinking that this takes a lot of work. It does. But if you want to be successful and you want to increase your earning potential and you want to reach out to people and you want more customers, you want to grow your organization, or if you want to get a job, this is what you have to do. And this is what I have done to get to this point. Okay, so let me just have a quick look at, I hope this has been useful so far. If it has, please hit the yes, hit a comment and type yes if it's been useful. If it's a no, give me a no and you can hang up and go somewhere else. Okay, Luke Kin, love the search functions and how far you can dig into the company and or the sector you're looking for. Yes, I agree. If you cover connecting to certain people, it'd be great to know your advice on going from adding someone to your network to actually connecting to someone properly and reaching out. Yes, Luke, I am too kind. I appreciate the comment. Okay, let's talk about connecting to people. When you get a connection invitation from somebody, you have an interesting reaction. So I would like you to look into your reaction to when someone sends you a connection invitation on LinkedIn. Is it, wow, cool, that person wants to connect with me? So maybe you just automatically accept it, or maybe you look at their job title, like their name. Okay, cool, they've got a name and that's the label for their human body, but you're maybe interested in their job title or who they work for, and that will affect your decision as to whether they accept or don't accept. In certain circumstances, if you have LinkedIn Pro or if you have LinkedIn Sales Navigator, you can actually send them a direct message. Now, in some instances, if you are clever at writing your messages and the content of those messages is helpful and you get to the point quickly, you might be better off actually sending what's called an in-mail if you want to reach out to somebody. So the connection invitation is interesting because what happens to me on a regular basis is I get connection invitations from people who are app developers, SEO experts, website experts, selling something, and I accept their invitation. And I accept it because I always smile, because I know that when I accept their invitation, they're automatically going to get pounded with the huge quantity of content that we produce and posts, and I'm going to show up in their feed. So I have a smirk on my face. But what does happen is the minute that I accept that inquiry, I get a buy my shit message. And I'm not necessarily in the market. So no one ever asked me, are you in the market for SEO work, or are you in the market to have an app built? Or I get that you're the biggest and best Stack developer in India, but I'm not in the market to buy software engineering services right now. So, and then they, in some instances, they can get quite aggressive if I don't reply, or I don't, they've sent me 5 messages and I don't respond. So people will send you connection invitations because it gives them a free hit. So if you purchase LinkedIn Sales Navigator, which I recommend that you do that, I think you get between 50 and 100 messages a month for free that you can message people. And then if someone replies, you get another message. So if you're good at engaging people on LinkedIn messaging, then that may be a better way to actually approach people to build relationships, which is, hey, I checked out your profile. I really like what you're doing. Would you mind if I send you a connection invitation, because I'm interested in growing my network. I'm interested in getting post notifications for the content that you produce. So those are the kinds of things that you want to actually add. And by the way, this is the content that I produce. I'm really passionate about helping people in your position, and I'm going to be posting content. And you can look at my profile and see that I've been posting content that is helpful for people like you. It'd be great to be connected. So it's very important, and I've covered sales in previous videos and previous live streams. It's really important to not show up and throw up. So showing up and throwing up is saying, buy my shit. So it's very important to do your due diligence and understand if they actually are in the market to buy your stuff. And the way you do that is by asking questions up front and doing your due diligence and what I call massive information gathering. So the sales process, just to quickly go over that again, massive information gathering is about asking lots of questions so you can understand whether you can improve the situation for that person. And if you know, because you've asked heaps of questions, that it would be unethical of you not to sell your product or service because you know it will solve a huge pain point for them, then you can go into a presentation. So you don't want to prematurely elaborate or show up and throw up. So those are the kinds of things that you guys can consider in terms of actually how to reach out to people. So I think reaching out to people is very important, because it's not what you know, it's not who you know, it's who knows you. So it's reaching out to people and showing them that you add value to them and giving before you ask. So Gary Vaynerchuk talks about jab, 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 right hook. So it's about 4 gives or 4 really valuable pieces of information before you have a subtle ask. And that is the nuances of building relationships. If you went to a networking event, you wouldn't walk straight in the door and say, hey, my name's Kobe, buy my shit. You'd say, hey, what business are you in? What do you guys get up to? What are some of the challenges that you've got? Tell me your story. Tell me about you. People talking about themselves. So get that person talking about themselves. That's going to help you learn whether you can actually add some value to them and help them. And if I give you an example, the people that are following you and what you're doing with your career and your industry is that those people, if you can bring attention to their brand by having them sponsor one of your vehicles, for example, then and the people that are looking at your vehicle are their buyers, then that's going to be a great relationship that's going to add value. But as you know, people have reached out to me to sponsor race cars and those sorts of things. My buyers don't necessarily watch them. And so that's why I'm not in the market for that. So sponsorship might be out of goodwill, just as an example, but it might also be the audience of buyers. So if we think back to the days in motor racing where nicotine companies could sponsor race cars, that's because everyone's standing around the racetrack smoking and the product is right there in front of the viewers and the audience. So it's about trading attention. And what we're doing is day trading attention and starting to say, well, where is the attention? And we want to get attention because it's not what you know, it's not who you know, it's who knows you. So you want to get the attention. Then you want to show the people, once you've got their attention, you can help them solve their problems. Then when they come into the market for the product or service, they're going to remember you and know that you can solve the problem. Okay, so just to quickly summarize what we've talked about so far, that search tool at the top, I want you to be thinking about and using that search tool. I want you to see what kinds of results you get, see the categories you get there in that LinkedIn search functionality. I want you to look at the fact that you can get people results, company results, and you can get content results. You can see hashtags as well. So start looking at all of those elements through that process so that you can basically go through and understand what's involved in that search criteria, what sort of content's available. The next thing that I want you to be paying attention to is the filtering of those results. Then you can start to think about the audience of buyers. Now, it's great to have hundreds of thousands of followers, but the reality is that you really want to think about why that's important. Like, is it for your ego, or is it for the fact that that's an audience of buyers and that at points in time those people come into the market with their money and they are looking to purchase the product or service that you sell? And so the last sort of comment, and I know I talked about lots of different platforms for you guys. We're going to start talking a little bit more about Instagram over the next couple of weeks. We're going to be talking about how to use YouTube more effectively, because we do a lot on YouTube. We want to be starting to look at how the different organizations, where are our buyers hanging out? Where are our groups hanging out? Now, right now in the COVID-19 crisis, there's not many networking events going on. But if these people would go to a networking event, they're going to hang out with people like themselves. So you can start looking in LinkedIn and seeing what's in groups, who's in the groups, who's interacting in the groups, what's going on with the groups. More specifically, I think groups are performing better on Facebook. Facebook is getting its name for being a great group platform and a great marketplace platform. I'm not seeing groups work very effectively on LinkedIn. They are there, but you definitely get dominant people inside those LinkedIn groups that they make so much noise that it's difficult to get in. But you can see who are members of those groups, and you can start reaching out to people who are members of those groups and their interest groups. So have a look on LinkedIn. do some searching and see if there's any interest groups around your area of your career and what's going on, and that's going to give you some better insights. Okay, I am taking questions, so if anyone's got questions, please ask. Hope this has been really helpful. Who else is in there? Shane, I'm looking at a job on Seek. I've looked up the company on LinkedIn and the management team. Who do you recommend I approach, and what's a good opening line? Okay, Shane. So for your question there, Shane's got, he's looking at a job on Seek. He's looked at the company on LinkedIn. You can see most of the senior people there on LinkedIn. I would not suggest an opening line. What I would suggest at this point in time is actually looking at the profiles of those people, looking at what they've liked, if you can see their profile. If you can't, then send them a connection invitation. Going into their profile and seeing what they've liked, seeing what they're interested in, and those are the conversation starters. Having conversations about what they're interested in talking about, what they might be concerned about, what they're liking, what they're following. Get a good understanding of what the company is concerned about. What is the manager concerned about? Luke, I'll jump on to Luke's question. Just search. When you use that search tool on LinkedIn, you should see a group result. Yes, it is a thing. It's a massive thing on LinkedIn. There's huge groups there and if you go onto my profile, you can see some of the groups that I'm a member of on LinkedIn. It's a massive thing. Good to know that I was able to give you something there, Luke. Okay, Shane, back to your comments. Shane Clements comments on YouTube. So I would recommend learning as much as you can about the company's challenges, doing a SWOT analysis. What's the company's strengths? What's their weaknesses? What's their opportunities? What's their threats as you're looking at that company, and really starting to get an understanding before you even start talking to them about some of the problems that they've got, and assure yourself that you can go in and solve those. Try as best you can to identify the manager that you would be working for, or the team of managers that you might have dotted line reporting into in that particular company. And then you can say, hey, I'm looking at your organization. I'm really excited about what you guys are doing. I've set myself a career goal to work for your organization. I want to learn everything there is to possibly learn about your organization. Where do you think I should start? I've checked out your website. I've checked out your LinkedIn. How else could I learn a lot more about your organization? That's your opening line. And so it's part of your massive information gathering. Once you've got that information, if you can then get a conversation, you can go to one of those managers and you can say, I've been doing a huge amount of research on your organization. I've got a really interesting skill set. I just want to confirm that I understand the problems that you've got correctly. Would you mind if I spend a little bit of time with you in a conversation, confirming that my thinking is right? Because I think I've got some solutions that might be able to help you, but I just want to confirm that it's correct. So what you're showing there with that kind of, that's the line after the opening line, is that you genuinely care about them and that you genuinely want to help them. So if I'm correct, Shane, I just understand that you'd like to learn more about a company. Hey, can I ask you a few more questions so I can help you do your research on the company you want to work for? Because I think I've got some solutions about how you could actually win a job at that organization. So that would be me sort of reverse engineering my opening line to you, Shane, and saying, hey, Shane, I do business coaching and I do mentoring, and I'd be happy to help you with some mentoring to help you actually get those jobs that you want. So that's how I would do my pitch to you. Shane, the only other thing that I just want to suggest is don't put all your eggs in one basket. It's a numbers game. So I would be also looking for other companies and making sure that you're not all putting all your eggs in one basket. So going and looking at all of the other companies like that company, even if they're in different geographic areas. There are lots of organizations right now that are taking on new recruits in completely remote areas that can work from home. So if it's a job that can be done working from home, please just don't limit your search to a specific area that you live. I think, did you say you're in Brisbane? So start looking around the rest of the country, because we've got members of our team working all the way up and down the New South Wales North Coast. My executive assistant, Caitlin, she lives halfway between Sydney and Brisbane. And so we work really effectively. We talk on the phone at 8 o'clock in the morning. She watches the Google Hangout. We run a virtual office meeting room on Google Hangouts that runs all day. And so it really doesn't matter for some of our people where people live and work from right now. So Shane, please see if you can find I agree. I'll get to that question in a second, Shane. So Shane, please look for some of the other companies. Okay, the downside to what you recommend is that positions are advertised for a limited time. The job could be filled by the time I'm ready to submit an application. That's absolutely correct, Shane. Success is predicated on speed. You're exactly right. And you've got to get in and do that. And so if you measured yourself on pace, 0 being too slow, 10 being really fast, we do psychometric testing here at Best Practice and we measure pace. There is nothing more important than getting your shit sorted and doing it quickly. And that is something that I'm renowned for, is that you will often see me operating in our office here at Best Practice. I don't just walk fast, I run. And the team here will attest to the fact that I run, because speed is really, really important. Speed is going to give you the results because it gives you an opportunity to do it really quickly, make a mistake, correct, and finish, instead of procrastinating on making sure something's really perfect. So it's about 10xing your efforts, 10xing your activity, spreading your net further. And if you can identify one company, can you identify 5? And so when I think about sales and I think about our organization, it's really important for me to have a full pipeline. And when I say a full pipeline, to have, say, 90 companies in the pipeline, because I know I'm only going to win 30. So this is about strike rate. And so speed is really important. And I hope I've sort of made my point there for you, Shane, is like, I get it. I know what happens. You've got to move quickly, and moving quickly, making it the priority, not getting distracted, not doing anything else, not making a cup of tea, not stopping. It's about getting on it and getting on it really quickly and moving really quickly, because that is what the company will want you to do when you work for them. They will want you to move quickly, solve things, and give them the return on the investment. And so, the early bird gets the worm. Really plays out here in this instance. So spread your net wide, identifying 3 or 4 or 5 companies or 10 companies, and then starting to understand what you can do to move quickly. I hope that's been helpful. Okay, so any other questions from anybody? Hey, Ross, you've been really quiet. I hope you're still there. I hope that's been helpful for you, Luke. And Matt Jenkin, I hope that's been enjoyable for you. If there's no other questions, I'm just conscious of everybody's time. Still here. Ross is still there. Okay. Are you happy, Ross, with what you're doing? Ross, you could look for health, safety, environment managers, do a quality manager search, construction managers. You could look for construction managers, construction directors, do a search for that title and do a specific geographical filter, and then you can start to look for the companies that you could potentially work for. You might find that you're more effective working for building companies that have got more than 200 staff, because then they'll have budget to do some of the kinds of inspections and audits that you do on a regular routine basis. Mentoring and training some of the graduate, safety coordinators. So it might be where the systems manager is a bit stretched in terms of their resources, and those are the kinds of companies that you could maybe look for. So that's something. The other thing that you guys, just with that search tool, you can search skills. So if you think of a specific skill that someone might have because you can't think of their job title, you can think of that skill. So you can definitely do for us, I do, SEO or social media marketing or profit and loss or strategic advice or management consulting or ISO 9001 or social media marketing or video content creation or construction estimating or artificial intelligence, machine learning. I'm just thinking about you guys here in the room in terms of your skills. You can search all of those skills. So if people have put that skill on their profile, you can search by skill. And that's really interesting. So if there are particular skills that people have bought from you in the past, you can see who else in the marketplace has got that particular skill. And I've found that really useful. Again, once you've identified those people, it's about going in and interacting with them, starting to build a relationship, build a friendship, add some value to that friendship, add some value to that relationship so you can start to do business with those people. Okay, so what are we talking about tomorrow? Well, people are telling me what we're going to be talking about tomorrow. I hope this has been really helpful. If you guys, as always, if you guys have got anything going on that you need assistance with in terms of questions, Therese, you're very welcome. So tomorrow we're going to be talking about tips for creating video content. I'm going to be helping you guys with that. So yes, if this has been helpful, please let me know. Thank you, Vanessa. I appreciate that. Tips for creating video content is tomorrow. So Vanessa's just jumped into the comments there. She's watching online. You guys are all very welcome. It really helps me if you guys have been thinking about anybody who needs to see this content or you want to learn this content, if you tag them. So on LinkedIn, you can actually hit the little @ sign and type someone's name. And once they pop up, you click on them, that will tag them in the post, in the comments. So that really helps me. It helps other people that you want to help see this content. If you do see posts from us on Instagram or on YouTube or on LinkedIn, you see a post from me and you scroll past in your feed, please hit the like button. So then I know that you're paying attention, and then I know that I'm helping you. So that helps us a lot if you can be doing that. So if you do follow us on LinkedIn, on any of our platforms, we've been doing a big push on Twitter this week. Lots going on the Twitter account. So if this has been helpful in terms of how to use it, happy to do more on it. Please let me know. And Vanessa's posted on the YouTube comments there on the YouTube dashboard. She's posted, or someone has posted that you can connect me with me there on LinkedIn. So the other couple of things is the follow. A couple of bonus tips here is the follow feature. If you can't connect with somebody, people love getting followers. So if you think reaching out to them right now and hitting them with a connection invitation is a bit weird, then everybody loves to get a follow-up, because then they'll go, why did that person just follow me? I was like, well, I like what you do. So that's the whole feature. If they're like, oh, this is weird, this person followed me, then they probably shouldn't be on the social media platform and they're a weirdo anyway. But when you go to someone's profile, you can click the dots next to their name and you can connect with them or you can follow them. I would highly recommend going and following people that are producing content or producing advice, producing guidance that is helpful for you. And you can do that on LinkedIn as well. So that follow feature is new. That came out about 12 months ago. So if you look at my account, I've got more followers than I do connections on LinkedIn. There are plenty of connections that have unfollowed me. So they're not unconnecting, but they're unfollowing because I put out too much content and it's frustrating for them. And they don't find it helpful. So they unfollow. So we're still connected, but they don't unfollow. So they're too scared to actually disconnect for fear of, might be able to do something in the future, but they do follow. So they connected, but they have unfollowed. But there's plenty of people. I've probably picked up about 300 followers in the last week who are obviously following the content. So if you're following us, I really appreciate that. I'm very grateful that I can help you and that we can keep producing more content. So have a look at that function as well. So for you, Shane, going and following those people, hitting that follow button on LinkedIn will be really helpful, because it's not what you know, it's not who you know, it's who knows you. So you've got to get known. That's the goal. Okay, I'm putting Luke to sleep right now. So he's finding this absolutely riveting this morning as we talk about LinkedIn. Have you guys got any questions? No? No questions from the live audience? Everyone's happy? Okay, no questions from the dog? Okay, all good. Sam, any questions? You're all good? Okay. So we might call it a wrap there. So if you don't see me out and about in Sydney town, because I'm not going anywhere, you can't go outside of New South Wales, we can't get on airplanes, we can't cross borders right now. So if you don't see me out and about, you will all definitely see me right here next time on Best Practice TV. Bye for now.